Why do some people face criticisms, rejections, setbacks, and pressure, and they remain calm, focused, and productive? Why do other people collapse on things that are seemingly and relatively small? What if success has less to do with intelligence, talent, or opportunity, and has more to do with emotional capacity? Now think about this for a moment. Because life is not lived in ideal conditions. Life is lived in pressure. Life is lived in disappointment and uncertainty. And what often determines whether we rise or fall is not what happens to us. It is actually the emotional capacity we bring into it. So today, we are talking about building your emotional capacity. So the first question you would ask me is, what is emotional capacity? Emotional capacity is your ability to remain functional under emotional pressure. Notice the word functional. Now that doesn't mean that you won't feel pain. It doesn't mean you won't get hurt. It doesn't also mean that you won't cry sometimes. It simply means that you wouldn't allow your emotions to completely disable you when they come. For example, a person does a business and the business didn't work and he loses. One kind of person will spend the next 6 months replaying the disappointment, while another person will feel the pain, yes, but he will quickly learn the lesson, regroup, and move on. The difference is not necessarily about their intelligence. The difference is actually about their emotional capacity. So now think about emotional capacity as the size of a container. When pressure enters your life, your container must be large enough to hold it without overflowing. So the larger the container you have, the more pressure you can take without losing yourself. So another question that comes to mind is, why do some people break easily? Now let's be honest. There are lots of persons out there who are extremely gifted, but they are emotionally fragile. A single criticism will ruin their week. A rejection will destroy their confidence. And then a difficult conversation will unsettle them for many days. And any little delay that they have will make them begin to question their entire future. Why? Because their emotional container is very small. Imagine pouring a bucket of water into a teacup. Guess what will happen? Your guess is as good as mine. The teacup will overflow immediately. Not because water is evil, and not because the teacup is made with an inferior material. It's simply because the container is small and the capacity is little. The same thing happens when people lack emotional capacity. The moment someone points out a weakness that they have, what they hear is, you are not good enough. When someone declines their proposal, for instance, what they hear is, you are not wanted. When they face a challenging season, what they see it as is a situation that they cannot handle. They begin to fidget and they begin to get trepidated in it. The problem isn't always the situation. The problem sometimes is the capacity available to handle the situation. And this brings me to another important question. So, where capacity can be small, can it also grow? Absolutely it can. Capacity is built, it's not born. Many people mistake capacity and emotional strength to be a personal trait that people have. They assume that some people were simply born strong. But that's not true. Emotional capacity is developed, just like your physical muscles can be developed. Now imagine if someone goes into the gym for the very first time. Do you think the person will go to lift the heaviest weight in the gym? No. What they will do is that they will begin to build their muscles. And guess how muscles are built? They are built through resistance. The same way your emotional muscle is also built through emotional resistance. So that every challenge presents an opportunity to expand your capacity. Every disappointment can teach you resilience. Every setback can build your endurance. Every difficult season can actually increase your emotional maturity. So the challenge isn't avoiding pressure. The challenge is learning from pressure when they come. Because avoiding pressure will always create a fragile human being. But if you wait and manage the pressure, guess what? You will create strength for yourself. So how exactly can we build emotional capacity? There are 4 excellent steps you can take that will help you to build emotional capacity. I'm sure you can guess the first one. Self-awareness. You know why? Because you cannot manage what you do not understand. Many people know about what they think, but they rarely recognize how they feel. So when they get angry, they don't know how to question themselves. So they are not able to say things like, what is happening inside of me? When they are anxious, they are not able to ask themselves, what am I afraid of? And when they are hurt, they are not able to say, what exactly is it about me that is wounded? Self-awareness helps to turn such confusion into clarity. And guess what clarity does? It is actually the beginning of mastery. The second thing you must do to build your emotional capacity is perspective. This is super important. Why? Because when you become emotional, guess what happens? You zoom into a particular thing and hold on to it, and that's all you can see. But if you practice perspective, you are able to zoom out and take a more rounded view at what is happening. Because when emotions get very tense, everything begins to feel permanent around you. But perspective will help you ask questions like, will this thing matter in the next 5 years? Okay, this situation I'm looking at right now, is it the whole story or is it just a portion of the story? Perspective doesn't deny pain. No, it simply places pain in context. And when you are able to place whatever situation you're facing in context, guess what it does for you? It helps to reduce emotional overwhelm. The third thing that you must do to build your emotional capacity is responsibility. Now, this is one that a lot of people are struggling with. If you see an emotionally immature person, then you see someone that knows how to blame people. But if you see an emotionally mature person, then you see someone that knows how to own things and say, I am the one that caused this. Responsibility says, I may not control everything that happens to me, but I am responsible for how I respond to it. Now, that mindset is empowering because it shifts you from victimhood to ownership. And whenever you are able to grasp ownership, you begin to create growth. The fourth and final step for you to create emotional capacity for yourself is through recovery. Even the strong people get knocked down sometimes in life, but the difference is that they know how to recover. Now, recovery can actually mean taking a rest when it is necessary. It also means reflecting on a lesson that you have learned. It could also mean seeking support when it is needed. It could mean rebuilding after disappointment. Now, the goal is not perfection. No, the goal is recovery, because life will occasionally knock down everyone. But your strength is measured by how you effectively get back up when you're knocked down. Now, the last question I want to answer is, why does it feel as if emotional capacity is what predicts success. It does. It predicts success. And the reason it is so is because every important area of your life will always be tested, every area of your life will always test your emotional capacity. Yes, every area of your life. Take for instance, in leadership, when you are a leader, people will disagree with you, people will criticize you, people will misunderstand the things you're saying. Without emotional capacity, leadership will begin to feel exhausting instead of feeling fulfilling as it should be. What of your marriage? Oh, in marriage, you're going to face a lot of misunderstanding. You're going to have expectation clash between you and your spouse. Your emotions will rise at some point. But without emotional capacity, every disagreement will begin to feel like a crisis that is about to destroy your marriage. What of a parent? You need a lot of emotional capacity. Why? Because children will always test your patience daily. And if you do not have emotional capacity and steadiness, you will find yourself overreacting to a lot of things that happen with your children. What about business and entrepreneurship? I'm sure you know by now that sometimes your deals will collapse. Your clients will complain. Your plans could change. And then the market could shift beyond what you measured or planned for. Without emotional capacity, many entrepreneurs will quit long before the success that they are desiring will get to them. That tells you how important emotional capacity is. And that leads me to tell you this profound truth that I want you to stay with. The strongest person is rarely the smartest. The strongest person is often the most emotionally stable. Because stability allows consistency, and consistency produces results. So let's tie everything together so that you would get it in one piece. Emotional capacity is your ability to remain calm and functional under pressure. It is determined by how you handle your criticism, rejection, disappointment, uncertainties, conflicts, and delays. But unlike talent, capacity can be developed through the 4 ways I've shared with you: self-awareness, perspectives, responsibility, and recovery. So every challenge you face today is either shrinking you or stretching you. The difference is how you respond to it. Because life does not come easier for the successful people. The only thing that they do is that they become stronger. So what do you do with the information you've received today? I will want you to identify that one situation that regularly overwhelms you. Maybe it's criticism or rejection or uncertainty or conflict. Then ask yourself, how do I grow through this? Because that is what produces strength in you. Never ask yourself how you can avoid it, because that is what makes you fragile. Emotional capacity is not built in comfort. So if you grow through that thing that makes you uncomfortable, you will see that you're growing your capacity. Your emotional capacity is grown through challenge and discomfort. So every difficult moment contains hidden training in it. Every pressure-filled session contains hidden growth for you. And for every time you face a setback, it is an invitation for you to expand. And let me assure you of one thing. If you actually continue to expand, that thing that seemed to be breaking you at this point will eventually begin to strengthen you. Always remember, life does not reward the most talented. No, it often rewards the person who can stay steady for the longest time. This has been Ace with Okwi, the Wealth Maestro. I want you to join me on all social media platforms at Okwi W Maestro. Let's continue this discussion there. Tell me about your perspective. Tell me about your challenges and your struggle, because all we want to do is to achieve clear excellence. Build your emotional capacity today. Cheers.